I've owned my Mini-14 long enough to know it's not the innocent little ranch rifle Ruger likes to pretend it is. On the surface, it's friendly. Stainless steel, walnut, old school charm. But the longer you live with one, the more you realize how many stories Ruger left untold. Every mark on mine reminds me that this rifle has history buried inside it. Quick fixes, quiet redesigns, even moments the company hopes you never Google. I've stripped mine down more times than I can count, and every time I see something different. Machining choices that whisper compromise, and clever workarounds that feel like secrets. This gun has been re-engineered in silence, fielded where it wasn't supposed to be, and tied to events Ruger still won't discuss. So, from one Mini-14 owner to another, let's talk about what really hides beneath that glossy ranch rifle smile. Ten things Ruger never wanted you to find out. Secret number 10. The AR connection Ruger downplayed. People look at the Mini-14 and see a cousin of the M14. Woodstock, Garand-style bolt, old-school American steel. But when you know the inside story, you realize its real family tree leans closer to the AR-15 than Ruger ever admitted. The man behind the Mini's design was Jim Sullivan, the same engineer who co-created the AR. And that DNA is everywhere, in the gas system geometry, the bolt timing, even the way recoil feels. Ruger didn't want the public making that connection. The company pushed the ranch rifle label hard. Friendly, traditional, non-military. They wanted a rifle you could toss in a truck without scaring the neighbors. Not something linked to the same lineage as America's most debated carbine. But if you've ever torn one apart, you can see it. Under that walnut stock hides a heart built by the same man who gave the AR its voice. Secret number 9. The pencil barrel problem they pretended didn't exist. If you've owned an older Mini-14, you know the drill. First few shots are decent, then the groups start walking. That's the pencil barrel issue. Early Minis shipped very thin barrels that heated fast and lost rigidity. Empty a 20-round mag and the point of impact could shift 3 or 4 inches. I saw it on my own rifle more times than I care to admit. Good first shot, then the target slowly drifts off. Ruger read the complaints but leaned on the ranch rifle story. This was marketed as a utility gun, not a target shooter, and left owners to manage expectations. Folks fix the problem themselves with barrel struts, heavier replacement barrels, or simple range pacing. Those owner tweaks kept these rifles useful long before Ruger quietly reworked the design years later. Secret number 8. Overgassed by design. I felt this one in my shoulder the first hot range day with mine. The Mini-14 doesn't just cycle, it slams. Ruger sized the gas port big so the rifle would run garage ammo, NATO loads, and keep going when everything else choked. That choice made it almost indestructible in nasty conditions, but you pay for it. Cases launched, the bolt came home like a hammer, and follow-ups felt harsh instead of smooth. I tweaked mine. A gas bushing calmed the bite, a heavier buffer softened the slap, and my groups tightened enough to matter. Guys, I shoot with swear-by tuned springs and struts. Others accept the bite and run stock parts. Bottom line, Ruger chose rock-solid reliability over a gentle trigger break and glassy follow-ups. If you want comfort and precision, plan to tinker. If you want a rifle that will keep working in the worst stuff, this one will. Secret number 7. The .222 Ghost model. I'll never forget spotting one at a gun show, tucked under a tarp, barrel clearly stamped .222. Ruger quietly built a tiny run of Mini-14s in .222 Remington to get around import rules in places that banned military calibers. Outwardly, they were nothing special. Same walnut, same lines. Look closer and the chamber and markings tell the story. These rifles are scarce because Ruger barely mentioned them. Collectors whisper about early 1980s serial ranges, and when one pops up online, the threads light up. I handled one once, same mini action, a touch softer on recoil, and suddenly the ordinary felt rare. If you're hunting one, check barrel stamps and the serial prefix and expect competition. When you finally hold it, you'll feel like you've uncovered a tiny piece of mini history, and be ready to pay for the privilege. Secret number 6. The Mini-14 Misstep. When Ruger launched the Mini-14, I was stoked. A mini that would eat 7.62 by 39 sounded perfect for brushwork. I bought one and learned fast. It ran until it didn't. Early models had firing pin profiles that sometimes failed to strike hard military primers cleanly. Factory mags were scarce and pricey, and many aftermarket mags just didn't feed steel case rounds right. I spent an afternoon swapping springs and testing different brands of ammo before I found a combo that behaved. Ruger didn't fix a lot over later production runs, but the first wave felt rushed. The idea was smart, the rollout wasn't. If you're shopping a Mini-30, check the production window. Test the exact ammo you'll use and bring genuine Ruger mags to the range. Get the right pairing and it's a tough little workhorse. Get the wrong one and you'll be babysitting it all day. Secret number 5. Ruger's secret government contracts. Most folks still think of the Mini-14 as a truck gun or ranch rifle, but I've seen the other side. Years ago, I handled a government-issue Mini-14 GB that came out of an armory. Thick barrel, flash hider, bayonet lug, the works. Ruger quietly shipped those to places like the Royal Bermuda Regiment, certain French units, DOE security teams, and a few American police departments that wanted rifle firepower without the assault weapon look. They even built the AC-556 Select Fire model for agencies that needed burst or full auto capability. Ruger never bragged about any of it. You won't find glossy ads showing those rifles in uniformed hands. The company let the ranch rifle image protect its reputation, while the minis quietly served behind fences and in patrol cars. Most of those contracts dried up once the AR platform took over, but the few service-grade minis still floating around tell a story Ruger never printed. Secret number 4. The silent 580 series fix. If you've ever owned an older Mini-14, you probably fought with accuracy. The wandering zero, the warm barrel, the 4-inch groups. Then, around 2003, Ruger suddenly stopped production. No big announcement, no press release. When the rifles came back about a year and a half later, something had changed. The new 580 series minis felt heavier up front. The barrels were thicker, the gas port was smaller, and the receiver machining looked tighter. My first shot with a 580 told me everything. The heat walk was gone. I was printing 2-inch groups with basic federal ammo, and for the first time, the Mini felt precise instead of lucky. Ruger never called it a fix. No marketing campaign, no apology. Just better rifles showing up in stores. Most owners still don't recognize the rifle quietly evolved, one redesign at a time, without a single word from the factory. Secret number 3. The magazine trap. If there's one thing that'll ruin a day at the range, it's a Mini-14 jam caused by a cheap mag. I learned that the hard way, swapping in an aftermarket mag to save cash and watching my rifle lock up mid-string. The Mini's feed geometry is fussy. Catch angle, feed lip shape, and spring rate all have to line up perfectly. Ruger's factory magazines are built for those tolerances. Many third-party mags aren't. Result? Failures to feed, stovepipes, and rounds that hang on the lip. Don't assume AR mag logic applies here. Buy genuine Ruger mags, check spring tension, and test every magazine with the exact ammo you plan to run. If you want backups, buy 2 factory mags, not 5 cheap clones. For field work, I always carry 1 fresh Ruger mag in the rifle and 1 in the pocket. Simple rule, 0 surprises. Secret number 2. The safety that can betray you. I spent a week teaching a buddy to run my Mini, and the moment that stuck with me was the safety. The Mini-14 keeps its safety paddle inside the trigger guard, a holdover from the Garand era designs, and that little lever is fine until you're cold, gloved, or rushed. Reach in to flick it off and your finger is already halfway to the trigger. I've seen it. Flinches, startled hands, and one near miss that left us both shaking. This isn't a fault you can fix with parts. It's a habit you have to build. The rule I drilled into every shooter who handled mine was simple. Confirm the rifle is aimed, ready, and only then move a finger into the guard. Don't feel for the safety with the pad of your finger. Use the thumb or the supporting hand, or clear the action first. Train the motion until it's as automatic as loading a mag. Respect that paddle, and it won't surprise you when it matters. Secret number 1. Why the Mini-14 still outsells its reputation. Here's the part I learned after years of owning one. The Mini-14's biggest weapon isn't its action or accuracy, it's how it looks. Walk into a small-town gun store and the Mini sits there like a friendly old hunting rifle. Walnut, simple lines, no tactical angles. People see that and don't panic. Neighbors don't call the sheriff. That casual appearance matters more than you think. I've put mine in trucks, taken it to county fairs, and never dealt with the same sideways stares and AR draws. In states with strict rules or sensitive landlords, that visual camouflage keeps the rifle usable where a black, modular carbine would cause problems. Add to that a platform that eats bad ammo, starts when others choke, and needs a little babysitting, and you've got a tool people buy and keep. So yes, cards on the table. The Mini-14 has rough edges, but it also solves real-world problems for real owners. That practical, low-profile value is the reason Ruger keeps selling Minis long after critics wrote them off. Alright folks, after running this gun for years, here's the blunt truth. The Mini-14 earned its place not because it was flawless, but because it simply kept working when it counted. Ruger hid some chapters, fixed others in silence, and let owners quietly sort the rest. That messy, stubborn honesty is part of its appeal. You either accept the trade-offs and learn the tricks, or you buy something else. If you own a Mini, test your mags, check your serial prefix, and know which years to trust at the range. If you don't, now you do. Tell me which secret surprised you the most. Drop your Mini prefix in the comments and share any fixes that saved your day. I'll read every one. Hit like if the video helped, subscribe for the next breakdown. I've got a mag test versus stock showdown coming. And as always, shoot straight and stay smart.